Professor Timothy Wu. Professor Wu is a professor of law at Columbia University Law School, and he served as a clerk for Justice Breyer on the United States Supreme Court. We welcome you, Professor Wu. Whenever you're comfortable, please begin.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Ranking Member Upton. I'm here today as a person who is not, I'm an academic. I'm not paid by any member of this industry. I'm not in this industry. And I present my views simply as someone who has studied this industry in great depth and has come to the conclusion that there are reasons to be concerned about the direction this industry is headed and reasons to think that policy changes might be very important to continue the strength of America in technological leadership. The United States, if we look comparatively in the rest of the world, leads the world in a lot of high-tech areas. We are, the entrepreneurs, the innovators. This is our comparative advantage. Yet it's often felt by American people, by consumers, by people in the industry, by the world at large, that the one area that America really is not the technological leader is in the wireless space. We lead in the internet applications. We lead in consumer electronics. We lead in computers and computer software. And I suggest that the only different variable between these different industries is policy. That we have allowed, and there's been a lot of positive developments in wireless, but we have allowed one way or another for there to be a spectrum-based oligopoly in wireless that is controlling innovation and is controlling the development of devices and new devices in the wireless sector. And I suggest to you that that is a state of affairs that's not going to change overnight, but that which this government, this Congress, and the FCC has a duty to set us back to a direction towards an open market, towards a leaven market, towards the kind of competitive, innovative market that we've seen in computers, we've seen in consumer electronics, we've seen in the internet, that has made this one of the richest countries on earth, that we are lacking in the wireless sector. Now, what I want to do and spend my time on today is trying to explain and make clear the difference between two what I think are very different issues. The wireless Carter phone issues, which I have seen as the primary focus of our discussion here, and the different, I think very different issues of what should be done with the spectrum that's coming available with the termination of broadcast television UHF, the 700 megahertz auction. I want to make clear what the difference is between these two things because I think they're getting a little bit confused, and we have different policy options here that will deliver different results, and we need to understand what's going on between them. So let me explain first of all what exactly wireless Carter phone means and why it is important, not just in the 700 megahertz context, but important period for setting this country on the right path to becoming a world leader, the world leader in wireless innovation. Right now, today, as some of the members have already noted, we have a very unusual situation when it comes to buying wireless devices. Retail is, over 90% of retail is controlled by the four carriers. You can't go to sort of any old store and buy a cell phone. Most of it goes through the bottleneck of the carriers and the devices the carriers think are the right phones for Americans. This is a very unusual situation. And moreover, when you buy these phones, there's two things that tend to happen. First of all, they tend to be locked to the particular network you buy them from, one way or another. And second of all, it can be very difficult and very complicated to bring your phone with you when you leave one service and move to another services. I mean, these phones are property. They are supposed to belong to Americans. You pay for them. You pay for them in higher monthly charges. I mean, this idea that you get these free subsidized telephones, don't be fooled. You pay $50 up front, but the money is collected on a buy now, pay later basis. This money is paid by American consumers. These telephones are their property, yet they're not allowed to do with these telephones what they want. Imagine the situation where if you bought a television set, you had cable service, you decide, I'm done with cable, I'm moving to satellite, Next thing you know, your phone stopped working, your television stopped working. That would be completely unacceptable. When people buy a television, they think, this is my television, I own it. If I want to move to broadcast, fine. If I want to move to cable, fine. Satellite, fine. This is my property. I do with it what I want. Telephones are nothing like that. They're locked to carriers. They're disabled from switching. And it is a situation which is unacceptable and will become increasingly unacceptable when we see companies like Apple trying to enter this market but being forced to be hamstrung and disable their devices from the full kind of compatibility that they should have. And so wireless Carter phone, the point of wireless Carter phone is addressing these issues. And the most important rule for addressing these issues is rules against locking and rules against blocking. Device portability must be allowed, and these phone companies should not be allowed to block applications that people want to use. Now, I'm running out of time. I want to say why these are different than 700 megahertz.
I apologize to you,
Okay.
but you're over right now, but I think you're going to get plenty of questions.